Well, hello everybody. It is season 15, week 11 of Steak Somebody review, REL 1 and 2A. As you can tell, I am here with an ogre instead of Shadorra, mainly because we're flying solo tonight, sadly. Shadorra's super busy with work stuff. His work is kind of exploding and he's being called in to do all sorts of stuff. He is very busy tomorrow as well. And if we waited till Friday, all you degenerates would have played all of your games already, so we would have had nothing to preview. Because that's the type of people you are. So, I'm just flying solo today, but that suits me a little bit. I mean, I'm sorry, it may be a little bit less entertaining because we don't have the sort of standard banter that we're kind of known for, and that's sort of the whole reason why people like to watch our recaps. However, I have other things I need to do today too, so keeping it maybe a little bit shorter is also going to be helpful for me. So that's what we're going to do. I'm sorry if you're disappointed, but you know, we're only human beings and this happens at least once a season. And we only knew that he was going to be out basically 10-15 minutes ago. Not really a whole lot of time to find a replacement or anything like that. So we're just being me today. You're welcome to come along if you want. It's up to you. What we're going to do, however, is start with I lost my train of thought. We're gonna watch Mongoose is Loose versus Superfed. There is a lack of like super interesting games this week. I mean, I know there's some crazy results certainly, and potentially like some cool matchups. But what I'm trying to focus on right now is playoff standings. Given that we're previewing week 11, there's 3 weeks left after the one that we're going to be talking about. So we're trying to focus on the matches and the teams that are trying to fight for those playoff spots. That's what we want to focus on. And there were no absolutely critical matches where like a win or a loss would like guarantee your placement in playoffs or like lock your playoff spot in either 1 or 2A. This was the closest one there was, in that if Superfed wins the game we're about to watch, you may already know the result, but don't spoil it for other people. It keeps his playoff dreams alive, basically. Like it kind of puts him back into that competitive top few spots. He still would have a chance to make it if he loses, but it's really, really helpful for him to stay around in those top spots. And if Mongoose wins it, it doesn't quite lock him, but it almost does. Like for the most part, it would put him at 24 points with 9 points or 11 points on the 12 points on the table. And then the next highest would be at 15. So, you know, it's possible that someone could still jump him if he wins this, but it's huge in terms of blocking that spot if he wins it. Not critical if he loses it. He still has a really good chance of making it, but it's a bit more important for Superfed than it is for Mongoose. But let us jump into this game, I suppose. This scene. And here we go. So we've got Superfed and we have Mongoose. Superfed setting up in defense first. We are benching the one-turner. And we've got, I'm also really interested to see how the leader works on this one-turner. Like, that's something that I think people are interested in seeing as well. So, it should at least be interesting. We've picked up Glart for Superfed. We've also got a Wizard. We are in the Squig Sandwich Kiosk, and we have 2 Babes for Superfed. So this Glart gives us the bench of 1, and we've got 2 Babes to try to capitalize on any of those KOs. And we got a Wizard. So, and a Wizard in one-turner. Like, I like the rats for this one a lot. I don't remember what I actually predicted, and I should probably check that before I start talking out my ass. Oh, that's really bright. Let me go find that. I predicted that Superfed would win this one. So yes, I am justified in my assumption that I think the rats are a bit favored here. We get a perfect D, which is really nice because now we are we can go make this pickup really awkward. If this scatters forward, suddenly it's in a bunch of tackle zones, which is pretty annoying for the Chaos Dwarves. if they fail that pickup, the rats are right here. We got the agi to recover it very easily, which is a little bit terrifying for those Chaos Dwarves. Glart right on the ball is a bit more annoying to knock over than some of the other players, and it also prevents us from getting triple Claw Mighty Blow. Not that the Claw really matters too much, but the Mighty Blow hits do, and there's the two of them are both over here. This one was not a Mighty Blow hit, and this guy, so there'd only be one that we were getting out of it. Cut is injured, the first rat injury of the game. We're gonna have to like cover off this ball pretty seriously, but I imagine we really want this Claw Palm on Glart. Like, why this is useful because it's a bit annoying for the dwarves to push him off, especially if that ball's scattered forward. But it's also real scary because Glart is kind of big in this matchup, and he's about to get claw palmed. With the Chorvs like really slamming together on this, like just a straight wall. They really want to prevent the rats from getting in here and doing something awkward. Because if the rats do run around, they like throw some dice and they manage to get this ball. Then things could get very bad for Mongoose very quickly. I'm surprised we did that before we did the claw palm hit. I mean, I understand wanting to get the ball, but now the ball's on the floor, and picking it up with the Bull Centaur makes a lot of sense, given that's the sure hands we have. And we want to prevent the strip ball player from doing strip ball things. And even the strength rat is a little bit negated by the fact that he's a strength 4 ball carrier instead of strength 3. Fend Goblin doing a thing, sort of. I mean, it is doing something. It means that we couldn't follow and just be in the way here. But we can just blitz this Chorf out of the way and then be in the way here. But yeah, there you go. We knocked the one goblin out of the way. Like, that scatter was really unfortunate. I think it was like we have to pick up with that bull. We don't exactly have any other choices here. If we picked up with a hobgoblin, he's just getting strip balled. And you know, we were unlucky, I guess, in the fact that we failed to pick up, and then the scatter was also bad. But this is not looking real good for the Chorfs so far. Like a rat turnover immediately without them having to use something like the wizard or like have one of their star players get hurt is as we talk about a lot sort of on this cast. You know, he still has all his resources available and he's going to get an advantage as if he had used one of them, right? Like the wizard or something. Which puts the Chaos Dwarves really on the back foot. If they don't get to deal with this right now, things are going to be, or if they don't deal with this like this turn, things are going to be rough for the Chorfs, I feel. We could have hit the ball there. Could we have not? Oh, this was guard. So it would be a 1-die. We could have 1-died the ball though, right? Because 3-4, and then this is 4. If we didn't fill that Chorf spot in, we could have just moved in and hit him, right? Or am I missing something? I mean, I guess the scatter would have been really bad. Like, how do you recover the scatter there? You'd have to be super lucky to get a good scatter off of that. Okay, and so this makes a lot more sense. We do it the other way. 1, because we get a 2-die, and 2, because the scatter is slightly more likely to be good. But that is not a good scatter either. The Chaos Dwarves, you know, they've gotten a KO and an injury, which is certainly nothing to complain about, but they're not getting good results when it comes to the ball. And now we get it in the hands of one of the gutter runners, and he is just going to run out of range of the Chorfs. And how do the Chorfs get with it? The rats are already, like the Chorfs are already completely committed to the side. So we'll probably dodge this rat out and put him like over here, just in scoring range, and then we can go to the rat and score. And I think we can just even get completely out of range of everybody. Not quite the Bull Centaur. I don't think we can get totally out of his range. No. Oh, we failed the GFI as well. Do we re-roll that? We do. Probably don't roll the second one. But now there's a scoring threat, and it's out of range of every player. Except for this one Bull Centaur. This Bull Centaur, Oh, Roxy Ray is KO'd. That's a big one. Oh, no, it's not. I thought that was the Blitzer. That's just a lineman. I thought that was the Blitzer for some reason. The only player really in range of the scoring threat is this Bull Centaur. He is block and frenzy, but, you know, wrestle. The rat is still in scoring range, even if he is knocked down. He's still 6 away. Oh, that's a good point. I should probably do that. I can find a voice channel somewhere that I could join. Let me do that real quick. Normally I'm in a voice call with Shadorra rather than in a voice chat, so that is why. I'm also going to need to change to voice activity. There, I'm in one. Okay. So the only player that was in range of the ball was the Bull Centaur. That hasn't done anything yet, but I think we're just going for the rat instead. Because I think that makes a lot of sense, right? Unless we got an armor break on this rat, it wouldn't stop it from doing anything. It would still be in scoring range. That is a bit more useful. Just hitting the ball. We do KO the rat too, which is nice. There are 2 babes though, so it's probably not super relevant. And we couldn't mark the ball either, so the rats can probably recover this, although they don't really get to recover it with a gutter runner, do they? So they're going to be doing an Agi 3 pickup, which, oh, wow. How do you ever deal with that as a rat? Just pushing the Bull Centaur away. Chaos Subalu is in here now, but I don't hear her.
Oh, hi. I'm
Hello.
here.
There we go. Okay, so we do get it with the Storm Vermin. The rat is no longer in scoring range. But we can see, like, this is the Chaos Dwarf's drive. They're getting KOs, but the KOs are pretty irrelevant when there's 2 babes. And things are just really awkward for them. Like, they don't have any sort of control over this. They're just trying to react to what the rats are doing. It's difficult for the Chaos Dwarfs to make stuff happen here.
This Bull Centaur has break tackle, right?
Yes.
Oh, that's a move busted Bull Centaur though.
That
yeah,
is.
This is a really rough position.
Yeah, the super short kick with a perfect D followed by bad scatters, both on the perfect, like the kickoff and the sack after the rats recovered, have put the Chorfs in a really awkward spot.
Yeah, and I mean I can relate because my game against Superfed looked a lot like this.
Yeah, so the rats, even if they're just wasting a ton of time, which is really like all they really care about, right? And they don't have to use any of their like resources to do it. As long as they're not taking too many muddy blow hits, they're pretty happy with how this is going. All those KOs are totally irrelevant. I mean, I guess you can roll ones, but... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, especially with the babe, like you have to count on at least 2/3 of these rats coming back, and then it's like, okay, it's a full team of rats again.
Yep. Oh, that is non-good. We do re-roll it and get the catch though. Mongoose saying thought he played well and then thought that Fed played better, but you know, a natty one-turner and a wizard. Look forward to your thoughts and suggestions. If you're taking rat advice, or sorry, Chaos Dwarf advice from me as a, you know, Super Bowl champion winning Chorf team, whereas I am about to get demoted to Div 4, I really think that I'm probably the wrong person to give you advice.
I mean, I am a Chaos Dwarf coach in Div 1, but I am not a Super Bowl winner. So
maybe you can give better thoughts and insight than I do. We surf the gun, so like Mongoose is
This was great.
Mongoose is playing this, I think, a lot better than I would, and despite the super awkward position that he's in, is doing the best he can. Like, it's really unfortunate or unlucky or however you want to put it that these are all irrelevant removals because they're KOs and stuff. But we're at least salvaging the drive. Like, it's pretty likely at this point now that the Chorfs can still score. They would have liked to have actually removed permanently more rats during the drive, and maybe the messiness is what prevented him from doing that. But if you told me on like turn 2 that the Chorfs would look pretty good by turn 6 and still be likely to score in their drive, I would not have believed me.
And there's another KO. Like, I mean, this is actually feels like a bit rough, because like I feel like Mongoose is playing this match correctly, but well, rats are rats.
Not getting rewarded.
If you just roll KOs, then that will win you a drive, but it won't win you the game.
Especially not when you have now had the same number of injuries. No, he's fine though. Apo used though. We still have the Apo for the rats, so like we haven't used really any of the rat resources, which is kind of what your goal is. You know, if you can force them to use the Apo, lose a player, use the wizard, something like that, you're at least in a better spot, or feel better about the drive.
I gotta say, actually, I feel like in REL 1, this has been the season of Glart.
So much Glart. True, both Superfed
so much
and
Glart.
the other rat team.
We have 2 rat teams that are just in pitiful condition, and they've been inducing Glart, like, both of them have been inducing Glart, like, almost every game.
Well, I'd have a hard time calling Superfed's rat team pitiful condition, but, I mean, TV-wise, yeah, like, it's just how the team works out.
I mean, in terms of TV, yes, because, like, I mean, he has a one-turner, he has a strength-free gutter runner. What else do you really need?
Yeah, he's got the sort of killer, the killer storm vermin. Doesn't have claw, but, you know, you can't have everything. Stop being greedy. And now we are in like the Chorf meat cube, trying to like surround the only players that can do anything to the best of our abilities.
I feel like this is also hoping that Fed just drops a fireball in here, and I mean, Fed's not going to do it, but
no, and I think that's fair. Like, if you could get rid of that wizard, that'd be amazing, and I think it would be a big mistake to do so.
Yeah, like, Fed is a good enough coach that he's not going to, but a lesser coach might see this and just go, fireball, baby!
Yeah, I hope not, because that's 3 armor 9 Chorfs. They don't really care that much about the fireball. We get to score on the dodge guard hobgoblin, I guess, which is a thing. Maybe he'll get blocked soon. Probably would have rathered the bull centaurs, but oh well. Yeah, Marnak Fastlegs is 2 away from leveling. It's a legend. Fireball! Yeah, fireball will be fun. Hey, look, there are claw players. Fireballable. You should totally do it, and not and waste your wizard, please. No, Fed is just going to basically keep stuff on the ground and try to block the Chorf down here whenever he stands up. Oh, we're going for something with Glart. We can get a hit on a claw guy, and you know Glart is just going to get punched if he stays where he is anyway. So you might as well try something.
It's not like it matters if Glart gets hurt. So.
Not particularly. I mean, it's nice to have because he's useful, but yeah, like you don't care pixel-wise. I love the Glart model. The giant like lobster claw is fun.
It is great. Frankly, it's better than the actual claw on the regular rat players.
Oh, I think so. Thagrak Steel Fist is stunned. But we also get a send-off, so we are down. We're actually down a rat now, even if all those KOs come back, because there's a bench of 1. Ineffective fouling.
Well, gotta take your victories where you can get them, I suppose.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna... No, it can't be a surf because of that's the bulk carrier.
Yeah, we would just score. But we might as well hit Glart with the claw. Mighty Blow. Piling on Chorf. Pile on the KO. He's got a babe. Makes sense. Got him! That's at least something. We still managed to salvage a score, and we removed 2 players, basically. One of them actually being an important one. So this went way better than I would have expected it to, given like the sort of turn 1, turn 2, turn 3.
Can you Imagine if Glart actually cared about MNDs.
I know, right? And you couldn't induce him in the next game? No, I'm busy.
That sounds terrific.
I'd be okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there's all the KOs. Huh.
Yeah, no, like in terms of cost effectiveness, rats have the if you ignore the secret weapon players, aside from those, rats have the most cost effective star players in the whole game.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, just their inducements in general are super useful, and it's not even because of like their costs or what the inducements are. It's just more about the rat ability to take advantage of things, right? Like a wizard costs 150k, whether you're rats, Nurgle, vampires, or wood elves. But like it turns out that one of those teams has a much better way of taking, or well, two of those teams, because I said wood elves, have a much better way of taking advantage of that 150k.
But in the case of rats, they have 3 extremely good star players, and all of them are extremely cheap relative to what they give you. I mean, like, Skitter is a gutter runner for 150, right? And that's probably the worst of the 3.
Yeah, because you really just don't care about the fact that he has stab. It's mostly just about that he's a gutter runner.
Yeah.
Off we go. Time for a 1-turn.
No, like, for real, rats are probably one of the best inducement teams in the game.
Oh, 100%. But yeah, like I don't even think it's because of, like, I mean, obviously the good star players and that sort of things help. Like, there's a bunch of star players that are like auto includes if you can afford them. Things like Glart, things like Slibly or Silly Billy, whatever you want to say, like Cheney. Like there's a couple of like auto include in quotation marks star players, and rats have like a really good one in Glart. And you know, the gutter runners, Hackflem and Skitter are certainly no slouch. Big Rat is, you know, a little bit different. But yeah, I think it's just because their ability to utilize those inducements, right? Like, you can get a wizard, or you can get a, you know, whatever with Nurgle as you can with rats, but it's so much easier to do something with a wizard as rats than it is with, like, Nurgle or Undead or whatever, because you can recover the ball more easily, and then you can turn that into a touchdown with movement 9 scoring threats. But,
yeah, no, it's counterintuitive, but it is a good thing, actually, that rats have so few players who are important.
Yeah, because you just don't care about most of them.
And Superfed is definitely really good at taking advantage of that fact.
I would agree. 3 players down for Superfed, meaning he's 2 players down, because we had a bench of 1 because of the Glart inducement. But, you know, we 1-turned, and now we get to go into Superfed's drive. And Superfed still has the wizard. So unless something goes horrendously wrong, and we're very likely to see at worst a rat tie here. You know, the rats are going to score in their drive, then they can, even if they lose their entire team or most of their team, as long as there's touchdown here doesn't take too long, the Chorfs can score, rats can 1-turn, whatever.
Is Superfed one of those rat coaches who just automatically goes for the 1-turn? Well, apparently not, because that's not what's happening here.
He's not. Like, he had a natural 1-turner for like 4 games straight before he even actually 1-turned with it. He only does it when he really like needs to. He's not the coach that's going to 1-turn on turn 9, but he'll 1-turn on 16 and on 8, or if he's down by 2 or that sort of thing. Blitz is nice. Yeah, a lot of teams don't have as many options to build wide versus tall, is the thing. Like, I know I always go back to Nurgle, because that's just what I play the most. But like, if you have your full complement of positionals, which you kind of need to as Nurgle, you only have 3 players that are not positionals on the field, and 2 even, unless you sit one of them. Right, so it's a bit harder with some teams, but I definitely do like wide with my undead. Right, I've got 2 leveled mummies, 2 leveled whites, and a leveled ghoul, and everybody else is a rookie that I don't care about. Blitz is, I mean, I guess useful in that we get a free, quote, hit, but it doesn't really accomplish anything here. We're just going to switch sides now that the Chorfs have committed.
Pretty much.
I'm a scoring threat.
If there's one thing actually that I would have changed with Mongoose' play, it's right here. I would have put 2 fewer players on the right end here, because this is the obvious response from the rats.
I think I would have, playing against these rats, I would almost always have my tackle juggernaut break tackle bull centaur in the dead center of the field.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, that player in particular should be in middle field so that it can go over here and smack one of these gutter runners.
Like right now, he'd be able to, if that bull centaur is in the middle of the field, he'd have, it's a little bit less good now because of where that rat is, but if he was in the middle of the field, he'd still have a possible hit on the ball or even on the scoring threats of the one turn with it.
I mean, if he was in the middle of the field, he would still have a hit on the one turner, yeah.
It's just, I was thinking, like, if that dodge failed, he could have hit the ball, but it's not really a good choice now. Still doable, actually. You could block the loner and then run, like, break tackle through the back and hit the ball carrier if that bull centaur is in the center.
I mean, it's 2+4+, so
it's not terrible. Given that you kind of need to do something, or you're very likely just in tie mode all the time, especially given that he has a wizard.
Yeah, no, like, for the only way to beat Superfed is to permanently remove the gutter runners, right?
Pretty much.
Like, that's his whole team right here.
Oof. And mostly just it doesn't even necessarily have to be the gutter runners. It's like, I mean, yeah, that's like the end goal, like that's the key thing. But I mean, Superfed knows that and will try to protect them. It's about like trying to use all of the resources that he has available to him, so he just can't do stuff like protect the gutter runners or have a wizard in his back pocket or whatever. Is the real thing. And given that you sort of know that no matter what you do, it's going to be real difficult to just stop rat scores, I think doing the like low percentage but high reward play more often is probably a better choice. Like playing ultra safe or like low risk all the time is just going to get you a tie, I think, in best case in this matchup.
I mean, with rats, you can play really pretty safe and also win a lot of games. So yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely need to go on the aggressive against them.
Yeah.
And I think this is going to be a score.
Yeah, we have the bull centaur back in the center of the field, so it's going to be really hard to defend this rat. Yep. So now the rats or the Chorfs have a bunch of turns to try and even it up, but unless they remove enough players, we have a 1 turn to win the game. And unless the wizard fails or something, like it shouldn't be very hard for the rats to stop the bull centaur or stop the Chorf score here.
I mean, the safe play here for the Chorfs is to not score until they can injure the 1-turner or score in turn 16. And even then, that's not completely safe because of the wizard. But
and that's
that
also
would
just tying. Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Although that's not terrible. Like, to be fair, I think I clarified this at the start. A win here for Mongoose is good, but not critical. It would put him very close to locking playoffs. But even if he loses it, he still has a really high chance of making playoffs. So it's not the most critical game in the world. It's a bit more critical for Superfed.
Like when I was playing Superfed, I needed to win that match. But for Mongoose, he doesn't need to win it. He can get a draw. It's still better than a loss, and he is, if not completely locked in for playoffs, it would be vanishingly unlikely for him to not get it, right?
Yeah, even if he loses it, yeah, it's pretty likely for him to go. It's like still 80-something%, I think. Not like guaranteed, but pretty damn close.
And I mean, like you never really want to see someone play for the draw, but sometimes it's the correct decision. Yep. And I mean, like if you can remove the 1-turner, then playing for the win is correct. But if you can't remove the 1-turner in this matchup, then it's much easier to secure a draw as the Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah, the real problem here is just the wizard, frankly. The Chaos Dwarves, can, if they try to stall till turn 16, there's always the wizard. And if that wizard turns into a touchdown, it is ultra game over. But even if the wizard just stops the Chorf score, the rats still win. And stalling till turn 16 is a great way to have a wizard ruin your scoring chances.
That is true.
So, just even keeping the wizard to make the Chorfs feel like they need to score on turn 15 so that they don't get wizarded into not scoring is a really valid strategy here, because then the rats get to one turn and they still win. I mean, it's not always a thing, right? Like, it's just Superfed's one turner is super reliable. With the guaranteed reroll because of leader and two heads dodge and sort of thing.
Mongoose could have marked a gutter runner here, and I think that he should have.
Still have the opportunity.
It would have given up a hit, but that is the sort of play that's going to remove the gunners, and as we have been discussing, that is the sort of, if you want to win, you have to remove gutter runner. So. And the way you remove gutter runners is by not letting them run around you.
The one good thing about this, though, is that we are carrying the ball on the Bull Centaur now, who is sure hands and strength 4. So even Superfed's like really good sacker, the strength 3 strip ball, is not nearly as effective as it is against other teams. So if he wants to drop that ball, the most reliable way to do it is with a wizard.
That is very true. Yes, it definitely puts the incentive on Superfed to wizard, but let's see. It's going to be tricky for Mongoose to cage up on his next turn, and the rats are going to be in range to pick up that ball. So
it's not too bad. We can blitz the loner and then just move the Bull Centaur like up this way. It's a little bit sad because we're not blitzing somebody more important than a loner, but you got to do what you got to do. And I guess you don't even need to if you move the ball over this far. You could blitz the one turner with the frenzy piece, if you'd like.
Okay, we have the eye cage here, which I like because, well, that's your wizard defense right there.
The bus or whatever people like to call it.
It's an eye cage
because it looks like an eye. Not a lowercase I, though. That's a critical critical difference.
No, that's important distinction.
Some people call the lowercase I an eye cage, like when it's just a line of 3 players.
That is not okay, but
it's not a cage, yeah.
Exactly.
But people call it that, I think, jokingly.
Okay, that is a really big removal for Superfed, actually.
That's huge.
I think probably we're going to see a gutter runner try and pick this up. It's only in 1 tackle zone, but even if Superfed doesn't get it, it's it's going to be hard for the Chorfs to pick up the ball again now. So
spicy, but there we go.
Okay.
So
2 tackle zones.
Yeah, no, you're right, and but the big deal with that is, though, even if the Chorfs recover it, we now can actually sack the ball like super reliably with the wrestle strip ball tackle guy. Because 1, there's no sure hands. 2, it's going to be on strength 3. 4, it doesn't matter because we made it out. Ooh, never mind, we didn't make it out, but the loner gets it.
Okay, so I know that there's no way Superfed hired this loner, but I feel like he should have.
Hi Hey, but Hi Hey isn't like a porn star or whatever, so it doesn't fit with the team. Frenzy getting the job done. It's the worst thing about loners is they never fit with your team theme. Like, I initially started naming my rotters after the team theme, and then realized as soon as I started getting free ones, it ruins everything. So I just gave up on that and just kind of exempted the rotters from my theme because the Pokemon ruin it, because you just can't choose that.
Yeah, I guess you would almost need a theme that it works if they have random rotter names. Good luck coming up with that.
Yeah, or opponents' themes, right? Because that's when you pick them up, that's what happens.
Just name all your rotters after players you don't like.
I've been naming all my rotters recently after the player that killed a rotter that required, like, whoever made me buy a rotter, I've named it after them. It's like, I really need a rotter for the next game because now I don't have a bench, and because you killed my rotter, and I just name it after them.
That was quite the pickup.
3 tackle zones, but it's edgy 5, right?
Okay, it's a 4+ then.
With sure
hands, that's 75%.
It's the same as the bull centaur, just picking up the ball, because it's also a bull centaur with sure hands, and that'll probably be game. Frankly, the Chorfs are going to be real hard pressed to score twice, especially if their bull centaur doesn't come back. But let's see what happens there. It did, okay, but it's at least doable, I guess, but. Not exactly likely anymore. I think we'd be hard pressed to get a tie out of this for Mongoose. I'm having a hard time imagining like ways that this could have gone differently. I mean, maybe if he was a bit luckier or Superfed was unluckier, like, but that's a horrible way to think about it in like the first half, right? At least if like a couple of those KOs were just injuries instead, that makes a huge difference. But that's hard to control for and hard to choose, right? Like, just hurt them better, idiot. It's not really good advice.
I mean, I think there's a few things Mongoose could have done differently. Could have made it a little harder for Fed to score. The first time. Wait, the second time.
The second time was
the
one turn.
The one that wasn't
or
the
first
one
time
turn.
was the one turn. Yeah, the second time.
But Mongoose has been playing pretty solidly, so it's like.
Well, the first half was really good. The second half, there's maybe I think like you said on the blitz, we probably could have dealt with it a bit better.
Like, I think Mongoose could have handled the blitz better. I think he could have marked gutter runners a few more times than he did. But these are all like ultimately small things.
All the small things. That loner is called Patchamute of Hell. Like, what is that name?
What is that name?
Thanks, Cyanide. Yeah, like I don't think there's anything he could have done in the third, in the wizard drive. Like, you can't stop a wizard unless your opponent rolls a 1. That's sort of how it works.
I mean, like, the only solution there was to have removed some of the gutter runners already, and that was not for lack of trying.
But I think the second, like you said, the non-one turned touchdown, we could have made that drive harder by not putting the entire team on one side of the pitch during the blitz. That's the biggest thing I think I can think of.
Yeah, like, better positioning could have made that not be a 2-turn.
I mean, you can probably defend against the 1-turn a little bit differently, given that, like, your opponent doesn't need pushes, but that's hard to, like, it doesn't really matter how you set up. It's still going to be relatively easy, right? Because you could, like, stack the line a bit so that catching the ball is hard, but then you just blitz those players out of the way and it doesn't matter. Putting them at the end, we have easy dodges through with 2 heads. Like, it's really hard to stop that.
Yeah, I mean, like, that was as good defense against the 1-turn as he could have managed. He had everything was tackle. Every possible way through was 2 tackle zones covered by tackle. And I mean, against a natural 1-turner, that's as good as you can do.
The only thing you could do better would be to take a disturbing presence on all your Chorfs and then put them near the LOS so that the rat can't catch the ball as easily. But yeah, like, Superfed doesn't even need to, like, defend this now. He can just, like, leave. He can just leave and let his rats be safe to the best of his ability. And we have a threat on the ball. If we fail the pickup here, for example, we can just score again. But stopping these scoring threats doesn't do anything, right? Like, sure, congratulations, you stopped the score. You still win 3-1. The other way around. Congratulations, you didn't score.
And if Bull Canoe does manage to score, he can still just 1-turn a game.
Yeah, for 4-2 or like 3-2 or 3-1. So you might as well do the thing that keeps your players not dead. But it's also nice to have an option.
So really, the biggest mistake Mongoose has made is that for the sake of the league, he has not deliberately gone out of his way to try and murder a gutter runner.
That's fair. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much what we do at this point. The rats have won, and I don't think the Chorfs can stop that. So not, picking up the ball there first, whatever is fine. Doesn't really make a huge difference. It just means that we're going to lose 4-1 instead of 3-1. Oh, the rats could fail a thing and then we could maybe score, but yeah, it doesn't change much.
Yeah, I mean, they might 1-9 to pick up.
Possible. All we really have to do is mark the ball though.
Yeah, but
because
you want to go.
Center can't blitz and pass. So if you have the ball,
you're right. But you want to score a game.
Yeah, I mean, do we? I guess there's exactly one reason why we want to score again, and that's touchdown differential. And
clearly, Superfed does.
Well, so that rat is already legend, so the SPP doesn't matter. But what does matter is touchdown differential, and that may actually matter, given that Superfed is kind of on the border of playoff qualification. Touchdown differential might be a very important thing. So
the way Superfed's games have been going, though, I have to imagine he's already winning on touchdown differential.
Possibly. I don't know. I didn't look at the touchdown differential, but that's something to always consider.
I'm curious now. I'm looking it up.
He is winning, yes.
Yeah.
But not by much. Polling is very close.
I mean, Ramaset's at 7, Holding's at 9, Superfed is at 11. So, yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the extra touchdown could actually make a difference here.
Yep, and no, so Superfed is on the... oh, you got a phone call or something. Superfed is on the edge of qualification right now. He could easily make playoffs. It's possible. It's just a bit more, and it's likely even. It's just a little bit less likely than Mongoose or some of the other teams that are in there currently, which we'll see in a bit. So every game from this point out matters quite a bit to him, and the touchdown differential may be important if he ends up tied with someone. So totally valid. And bonk. He's okay. And bonk. Also okay. I like how the Chorfs' helmets cover their eyes. It just seems so dwarfy. Look at this helmet. It's just over... if I had played a Chorf team... Wait, where is it? No, the portraits don't have it, but the models do? That doesn't make sense. But I love the helmets. I don't like the blue Chorf, though. Why is he blue? I like the knife Chorf. There's one with a knife in his teeth, and it sort of floats there, and it looks really dumb. This one. It's glued to the roof of his mouth. Why? Why do you have a knife glued to the roof of your mouth?
Okay, what did I miss?
Some punches in the LOS and me complaining about the knife Chorf, the knife mouth Chorf. I don't like the animation.
I mean... Okay, that's fair.
The knife is glued to his top teeth. When he opens his mouth, it stays there. It's weird.
I like how it looks when his mouth is closed, but you're right. Once he opens the mouth, it kind of breaks the illusion.
Yeah, and I love I also mentioned how I loved the Chorf helmets being just covering their eyes all the time. It's very Chorfy. Unseen Walker disagrees with me in that he likes the blue Chorf. I don't like the blue Chorf. I think this is my favorite Chorf head. The fangs and big mustache and the red eye makeup.
I quite like the one where he's clearly started to turn into a statue.
The blue one or the... Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what's supposed to be going on in a way. I can't think of any other reason that it would be blue.
He's really cold. Or very sad. We might be able to, score our 2-turn here, but that's not gonna. If we could score on the one Bull Centaur is about to be legend, though, that's fun. An injury on a rat that we don't care about because it's a loner or it's a rookie rat.
Yeah, that's the legendary guy, so it's not like you need the SVP.
Marnak Fastlegs could hit legend right here. We catch the ball. We have 2 GFIs to legend. 1 GFI. 2 GFIs, Legend Bull Centaur!
We did it!
We still lose the game, but there's a Legend Bull Centaur now.
Yeah, I mean, Legend Bull Center is cool, and deny the extra point for Superfed.
And
I don't know. I suppose there's like one. No, there isn't. Never mind. Sorry, I interrupted.
Oh, I was just gonna say the stupid name Line Rat is one that got MVP. Patchamute of Hell.
I wonder if that's also the Line Rat who caught the ball. No, I don't think it is. I think it was a different one.
I don't remember, and I also don't care very much because I don't think.
Yeah. It strikes me as unlikely.
Rathark Rock Nails, the rookie Chorf, got MVP, which is actually really nice because, you know, 1 Kaz or a Vanity Pass, ha ha ha, and we could get another leveled Chorf. But there you go. That is that game. I'm gonna drop Blood Bowl 2 so we stop hearing the noises from it. And I will put up a different screen. I should have had this prepared so you didn't see my desktop, but whatever. No one cares. Look, Steam. Haha, fun.
No one cares.
Also my background.
Well, I mean, it's not impossible to do a Vanity Pass with a Chorf. Admittedly, it's not something that seems to happen in Div 1.
Well, I mean, for the most, like, it's not impossible, but for the most part, you're like in Div 1, a lot of the matches count. Like, there are very few people who are out of the running. So, you know, in one of my recent games, I spent the first 4 turns of the match attempting to Vanity Pass with my Nurgle players, just because it didn't matter if I won or lost at that point. So I figured might as well try to level this guy. I ended up winning anyway, but like, that's not something you really want to try to do when the match outcome matters, right? Is sit in the backfield with your Chorfs and pass it around when you're playing against the Rats.
No. If a Chorf is doing a Vanity Pass, it's because it's turn 8 or it's a kickoff on turn 8 or 16.
Yep. Man, in what looks like a game. Speaking, let's look at the results. If you want to stick around for those, you can. But thanks for being here for the game. Totally up to you what you want to do.
I'll stick around for the REL one anyway.
Okay. Ordinary Elves and Gourmet Governors. That's a result 5-2 for Holing, which is a really big result for Holing and very bad for Luminous. Lumi was close, still is close, but was closer before this loss to playoffs. This is going to make his qualification, I think, pretty difficult, but still possible. But it's not a good loss. And it would have helped Superfed, for example, as he's pointing out in chat. Holing is one of the main competitors for the top 4 spots right now. So him winning this is really good for Holing and bad for people that are trying to take his spot, which are like Luminous and Superfed.
Especially winning it by this degree, because as discussed, Holing is only 2 TDs behind Superfed, I believe.
Yeah, very close. 5-2. 20 armor breaks for the Gourmet Governors, so we got one KO, 3 Kaz suffered by the Elves, 3 Kaz and 5 KOs suffered by the Vamps, but that could be from their own nonsense.
I mean, honestly, this isn't that many removals for the Vampires.
No, not really. I think Lumi describes the game well, though, in that it turns out it hurts when you snake the pickup against Wood Elves. Yep, especially Wood Elves that have Agi 5 players that are very high movement. The only injuries that really mattered were on loners for the Elves. Niggled Wrestle Thrall is a bit annoying, but it's not really the end of the world. If you can afford to replace him, maybe you do, because you have other Wrestle Thralls, but... Oh, that's a bad one, though.
I'm kind of wondering what the story is behind the Mighty Blow in this Thrall, actually, but I don't think you keep this Thrall either. Like, you're definitely firing.
It's free Mighty Blow. That's what it is. You can't, like, you don't have Mighty Blow that often on vampires. You get Mighty Blow. It's helpful.
You don't have that often on vampires, though? Guard.
You don't need Guard as much. He's got it on Fish and Chips. It's fine. They're all strength 4. But yeah, Wrestle Mighty Blow is a bit of a weird combination. But it matters against like the Tackle Mighty Blow is the big thing there, and it matters for stuff like Rats or Elves or whatever. and that's why he took it in chat. He's saying it's because it was for a playoff game when he was about to play against a pretty serious high elf team.
Okay, that's fair. That's reasonable.
So that's sad. The strength bust makes him a lot more useless. But we did level Steak Tartare, and maybe something exciting happened there. We don't know the level yet. Okay. Touchdowns came from the two catchers, 2 from the rookie, not to level him, but 2 from the agi piece. That's like a strength 1 agi piece too. Getting closer to legend. Okay. And then we had the match that was the wrong week. We had Stacy versus Unseen Walker, 1-1. I thought that the Nurgle would just sort of like crush the dwarves into the earth here. Because Rage Dwarf has had a bad season that way. Also because Nurgle. However, these Nurgle aren't actually that killy. There's only 1 Claw Mighty Blow, so it's not really that bad. But I'm pretty sure I said when we were doing the recap, this screams tie, and it was. So not very, very surprised that we tied here.
Yep. No, it's the other Nurgle team that's super slow. This is just like all the riders got killed, and then having not watched this game, like looking at this looks to me like there's a big scrum.
Likely.
And no one could do anything.
Nurgle suffered a KO and 6 Kaz. The dwarves suffered 2 KOs and 2 Kaz. The only real Kaz was a badly hurt on Swiftdorf. The other one was Apode. So there's Stacy and Ragedorf saying that Ragedorf probably should have won this one. Got a bit lucky because he ignored a diving tackle, and it forgot about diving tackle. Therefore, diving tackle fake skill. Everyone's been there. That's how I beat Shadorra one time, and he still hates me for it. Then also Unseen Walker probably could have done something to stop this score, but he was more concerned about protecting his Troll Slayer, who was in danger of getting murdered if he tried to do something. And given that he's not in playoff contention anymore, I think that's totally a valid strategy. Leveling Grandmaster Dwarf, though, is nice. That's a blitzer with Stand Firm and Mighty Blow. Wonder what we take there. Is there a level?
Let me think. How many games are left in the season? 3 more?
Yep.
I really hope that Hell's Dwarf can hit Legend by the end of the season. Needs 25 more. I mean, like if he gets it's possible if he gets a couple MVPs on lucky MVPs.
Yeah, so like Unseen Walker kind of out removed the Nurgle for the most part, and but it's one of those things where if you want to commit your team, you could play for the win, but also risk your players, which he didn't really want to do because he didn't need to. Any of the injuries that matter on the Nurgle, MNG from the Nurgle Warrior is really annoying. It sucks going into a game with only 3, but the Dead Rotter is a Dead Rotter, and they're also badly hurt in MNG. Like, who cares? The Rotters.
It's a double Dead Rotter.
I've had a number of those. Hail Mary pass. This Pestigore did pick up a level in the game with a touchdown or completed pass, which is lovely. Not having rookie Pestigores is good. Apparently it's a double and he doesn't know what to take with it. I would probably ignore the double, frankly. You already have like a sacker. Like the only Pestigores you care about doubles on really are the ball carrier and the sacker, and you have those already. The type of Pestigore you're missing is like the Claw Mighty Blow one. Like I would consider even just going straight Mighty Blow and trying to like just get him a level before the end of the season. You could it's a little risky, but depending on how much you care about your results, just going straight Mighty Blow to get more chances at Kaz for leveling him again might be worth it. But
yeah, I think I agree. I would do Mighty Blow or block for this player. It doesn't. Like, doubles are not really very good on Pestigores. Like you said, it's only really useful on your ball carrier, and even then only 1, because you want dodge on a ball carrier.
Yeah, dodge, block, sure hands, and as many stats as you can get your hands on. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't think there's actually a double here that's actually super useful. I mean, I'm sure you could like justify something. Like, if you wanted to be ultra TV efficient, you could take like leader, but I think that's a bad choice. If it was me, I would just ignore the double, frankly. But doubles are fun sometimes. So
okay, I if this was any of the other Pestigores, I honestly wouldn't hate leader on it. But this Pestigore is probably sitting on the bench a lot of the time.
Yep.
Because it's the backup Pestigore. So why would he give it leader? Because it's just going to be gone off the field.
That's why I said I don't think it's a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only one I can think of that's real. Like, some people would consider jump up, and I think Stacy was talking about that, but jump up first on a killer it's so slow. Like, I would almost never take jump up on a killer player until after they already have like piling on. If you already have piling on, sure, take jump up.
Mm-hmm.
But just imagine his leveling progression. Right? You take jump up, it's entirely useless for a very long time. You still have to get block, mighty blow, claw, piling on, and tackle. like
bare minimum, you need mighty blow before you even think about taking jump up.
Yeah, it's not bad, and it's going to be useful if he survives to legend. But like, you're gonna have to get him to legend, and that's going to be like 3 seasons from now. It's just so slow. You could do it if you want, but it like your skill progression is going to be something like jump up, piling on, like block mighty blow, something like that, or like jump up, block, piling on, mighty blow. Like, it's just such a weird progression, and it's going to be hard to use for a while. Okay, let's not get bogged down too much. Cullen and Ramaset, Wrath of Nuffle versus the Voltrex Vanguard. Cullen beat the elves here, which is a pretty big deal, given that Ramaset is one of the contenders for the playoffs as well. This is one that I think Superfed and Lumi are probably fairly happy about. Never thought of what? Oh, Stacy, right? Sorry, Superfed and Stacy are the same color, so I got them confused for a second. In Twitch chat. Yeah, Ramaset is one of the playoff contenders, so Cullen winning this is a pretty big deal for like Lumi and Superfed and the other like playoff challengers.
Basically, everyone who's ranked higher than me.
Yes. So that's good for him. So we got 10 armor breaks, which resulted in 5 Kaz and 4 KOs for the elves. You know, we controlled the elves right into the Kaz box, as the meme goes, and let ourselves, you know, we had control of the game because there weren't very many elves on the field. Is likely the occurrence here. Any movement bust on the guard is annoying, but it's not fireable. I don't think.
Like, he'd still keep the guard. He's going to end up on the line of scrimmage a little more often, but he's still playable.
Yep. Everything else is an MNG, and the tackle is being out is a bit annoying depending on who your next opponent is, but probably not the end of the world. Only a badly hurt for the chaos. No levels to speak of. Then we have B-Dog and Stouticus. Also one of those like outside chance playoff contenders for B-Dog. I think Stouticus is not in the running right now. No, he's not. But B-Dog is, so a win for him here is a pretty big deal for B-Dog, and not good for the other contenders like Superfed and Luminous, because he's one of their opponents. Very exciting sort of end of the season. 2-1. We sort of expected the humans to do elfy things to these Nurgle because they're so slow. Like, the average movement on this team is like, I think there's like 3 or 4 movement busts. It's kind of stupid. And so humans can, pick up the ball, run away, and to do that sort of thing. It's how they're going to win this one, I think, as long as they don't die too quickly, which it looks like they didn't. We took a badly hurt on a good blitzer, but sacrifices have to be made. MNG on like the scary catcher though, that's the annoying bit.
Yeah, that's going to make their next game a lot harder, I think.
Yep. And a level on the rookie blitzer is great with a completed pass and the MVP. The MVP unnecessary because it put him at 11. Was at 6 and then got the MVP. And like, damn, why did I try the vanity pass? Oh well. Should have done it on Biff Rooney and would have leveled 2 players.
No, you see, he just needs to get MVP on the next game, and then he's golden.
It's the double MVP long game strategy.
I mean, I have a Hobgoblin who's eaten like 5 MVPs, so it happened.
Picked up Mighty Blow to accelerate that development, which I think makes sense for two reasons. One, to accelerate the development, and two, because you only have one Mighty Blow if you don't count the Ogre.
Mm-hmm.
No levels from the Nurgle, but that's not surprising. They're pretty high TV. They're going to be difficult to, most of the remaining levels are legend or not possible because they're already legend. So it's going to be hard to get levels there. TD came from the Sacker Pestigore. And then we had Locus and Barbecue Gamer. This is an interesting one. It's a real serious sort of this is the annoying thing for sort of kill teams to play against is here's 7 billion guard stand firm. Please try to get a block on me. And sometimes they just can't, which can make it hard when you don't have the ability to do other things. Can't get armor breaks if you can't get blocks. However, the All-Stars of Chaos got 55 blocks, completely invalidating everything I just said. Barbecue's Fit Crew got 31, but managed. So I must either well played by Barbecue Gamer or perhaps a mistake somewhere from Locus that prevented him from scoring. Because given the block differential here, although I think he may have gotten a bit unlucky, he got out removed by the Chorfs despite the fewer blocks.
If I had to guess, the Chorfs probably got more of the removals in their own drive and just managed to squeak in the score that way.
Well, the Chaos team also got out removed just despite doing a ton more blocking, which is I think the big deal there. Ice Baby Hammer Time though has hit legend, so that's exciting. Let's go check that out. Tackle, which I think makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that's what I would take.
Absolutely. On the sort of killer. The only other real options that people would ever consider there are I don't know, Pro or Juggernaut, but I don't think given that you have jump up, he is a killer warrior, right? You just take tackle to make the kills better.
Mm-hmm.
The legend skill that on these types of players that tends to be Juggernaut or Pro for the killers is when you don't have a jump up double in there somewhere.
Also, Pro is a lot more common on players who start off with block, I think. Warriors need to buy block. That takes a whole extra level, so it has to come out of somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's just the sort of standard Chaos or Nurgle kill progression is block, Mighty Blow, Claw, piling on, tackle, something, in generally that order. And that something is, if you're lucky, you can get jump up. If not, it's you could take stand firm, you could take guard, you could take Juggernaut, you could take Pro. The last one is sort of flexible, but all the rest are already really defined for you. The Dead Dirty Player Beastman. Not really.
I mean, that's just a crime right there.
If anybody's gonna die, that's probably the one that you'd want to die, though, or maybe the rookie. But the ball carrying Beastman is MNG'd for the next game, which is very annoying depending on who you're playing against. You can still carry on a block player, but Blodge Sure Hands movement 2 heads is a lot easier to score with than block is.
I'm not going to say it wouldn't have helped, but I don't think their next opponent is someone who they needed
we'll see that in a minute. Pulled Pork, the Bull Centaur levels and picks up Mighty Blow. Burnt Ends and Baked Beans have also leveled up, so it's a good game from Barbecue. A lot of SPP. Burnt Ends got block finally, and Baked Beans has Sure Hands, so now we finally have a Sure Hands on the team, which is good. And that's a real good ball carrier. I mean, minus the dirty player, but what can you do? At least he can get value when you're trying to foul him off the field to be safe. Gotta get my ball carrier safe. Get him sent off, and you can get value out of the fouls. Oh man.
I mean, my Sacker has dirty player, so I can relate.
Yeah, I mean, it's just you don't know. He took dirty player and then rolled Agi, and you're like, oh well, darn, I guess. Mongoose and Superfed we watched, so we don't need to check that out. What I do want to check out, though, is the Marnak Fast Legs level, though. So let's see what that is. Mighty Blow, which makes sense, I suppose. Mighty Blow, break tackle, tackle, Juggernaut. He's a sacker for the most part.
Sacker is your arms, yeah.
Well, it's a weird Bull Centaur. Don't question it too much. I spent like an entire season of recapping making fun of that bull centaur. I won't do it again. And then tell us about your game briefly.
Okay, well, basically, I removed a whole lot of rats.
Seems that way. Hackflam, Glart, a rostered gutter runner.
The babes did absolutely nothing for Uber in this game, so those KOs as well, like those are out all game.
Oh, geez. And that is two KOs? Yeah. 2 KOs and 7 Kaz is 9 players down, and we had 11 players this game. 13 because of the 2 star players. That's still most of the team gone.
Yep. No permanent damage though.
MNG on
MNG,
a line rat, but oh well.
No permanent damage.
Nope, nothing too important. The movement gutter runner picked up a completed pass, but that doesn't do much for now. And then 2 completed passes and an intercept from the rookie gutter runner or close to rookie to pick up 5 SPP. So almost leveled. Probably was aiming to level the gutter runner this game until you decided to end its life.
I will say actually, like Uber actually played this game really well. It is one of those games where it didn't matter because his team was gone.
Uber's a good coach.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So those are those games. Let's look at the leaderboard, and then I'll bring up the div predictor briefly. The leaderboard. So Mongoose still in first despite not winning, but you can see what I mean. If he had won that, he would be at 24 points, whereas next opponents, the closest competitors would be at 20, and so he'd be like a game in hand basically. He'd have a lot more cushion. He's still in really good shape to make playoffs, but a win there would have solidified it a bit more. Superfed's win there actually pushing him into playoff spots right now. But we have B-Dog and Cullen who are real close on his heels there within a game. So every win's going to matter a lot for Superfed still.
B-Dog is more than a game off.
Yes, sorry. A game and a draw off. Cullen is a game off.
Yes.
So if I bring up the little div predictor thing that Drenar put together so wonderfully, nobody is locked yet, but Volcano is close. 90%, and Ordinary Elves are 85, Voltrex Vanguard are 85, and then the fourth spot is in a bit more flux. Both Superfed and Cullen have a reasonable shot at it. A little bit less for Rogue Bombers, and even smaller for you. It's there, not a good one.
I know what I need to get in. I would need someone other than Mongoose, who's currently in playoff contention, to lose 2 of their next 3 games, and also for Cullen to lose or draw 2 of the next 3 games.
Yeah, that's why the percentage ends up a bit low. It is the only way I'm getting into playoffs is if someone who's doing better than me does really badly in the last few games of the season. Yeah, so the div predictor doesn't actually like sim match results. It doesn't care about like what the matchups are. It has no like probability of winning. All it does is count all the possible scenarios that could happen and see what number of scenarios you happen to go to playoffs in. And so the fewer number of scenarios, like the more specific it has to be, the lower chance you have. And yours is getting pretty specific. So it's likely that we're going to see Volcano, Ordinary Elves, Voltrex Vanguard, and probably Dreams of Golden Streams in the top 4 in the playoff spots, but it's not decided yet. Okay, well, let's look at next week's games.
Yeah.
There technically is, Lumi. It's a 0.01% chance.
I think the most interesting game next week is like the very first one here, Vortex Vanguard versus Ordinary Elves.
That's very true. It's likely to be important for playoffs, certainly, given the results we just said. I mean, a win for either one of them is huge in terms of putting them in playoff spots or locking it down anyway.
Yeah, the result is important for both of them, but it's also quite important for Superfed and for Cullen.
Yeah, I mean, a tie would be really bad for both of them.
Yes, it would.
Well, let's see. I mean, this is weird. Like neither team. Ramazet gets 60k in inducements, which is not very much, and that's only because he's missing some of his players. He's missing his tackle, which is actually pretty relevant here. But they both have like a high movement sort of player here, which is useful. Neither of them are super good. Like they don't have a real good like anti-elf player. The best is probably Ramazet's high movement catcher. I didn't notice he had tackle until right now. Ordinary elves have the war dancer who's really good, and they have the strip ball war dancer strength 4. So like this is going to be weird. Like both of them are going to have a really hard time keeping the ball safe from each other.
I feel like this is going to be a high point game as well.
Yeah, high elf versus wood elf scoring shootout would not surprise me in the slightest. I don't know what I want. I feel like I think that Agi elf is also strength busted, which is a problem, and the tree is pretty irrelevant. I think the war dancers are just really, really good here. Slightly higher average movement. I don't know. I can't easily pick one, but I'm gonna take the ordinary elves, I think.
I mean, if the Vanguard is really, if they're really committed to winning this game, they have a full bank. They could scum in Wizard.
That's true.
I don't know that they'll do that because it'll take up most of their bank, but they could do it, and that would give them a big advantage in this game. I think that would be enough for them to win it.
Yeah, that's a fair point. I don't know if he would, because what do we have left? He's going up against Chorfs next week, and then Rats after that. The Rats aren't terribly scary, but you might not want to drop your entire bank right before you're about to go up against a whole team of Mighty Blow Tackle.
This is true.
So I don't know if Ramazet will, but yeah. For the purpose of predicting, I'll take the ordinary elves. Rage Dwarf and Grungy Desserts. 1800 dwarfs versus 2070 Nurgle. I generally like Nurgle against dwarves, especially if the Nurgle actually have a decent amount of Claw Mighty Blow and Guard, which of these ones do. And the movement is a lot less relevant against dwarves than it is against other teams. Like it's a slow Nurgle team, but dwarves are also slow because they're dwarves.
Yep. I mean, Unseen Walker just takes so many removals.
Oh yeah, especially given that there are 3 Nurgle dwarves. If I were the Nurgle team here, I would feel reasonably confident about being able to win this one. So I think, man, all the movement busts is so bad though. He's got 5 movement busts on the team. That's nuts.
I mean, frankly, I think this is going to be a draw. But
yeah, well,
if I had to pick someone, I'd probably go with Sadgas.
That's my thinking. I mean, in my stupid game rules that Shadorra and I picked in season 8 and have never changed, we're not allowed to predict ties.
Well, I'm not Shadorra, so I can predict a tie.
You sure can. You can do whatever you want. Gourmet Governors and Barbecue's Pit Crew both share the same logo, interestingly enough. So it's the Battle of the Ham Legs.
The Flaming Ham.
Battle of the Flaming Ham.
I'd watch it.
Yeah. I'm just a big ham fan, though. Ham is delicious.
It is.
Gourmet Governors. So we got the vampires are actually pretty speedy, surprisingly. So they're very able to get away from the slow Chorf blockers. These Chorfs aren't, I was going to say they're not incredibly killy, but that's not true. They have 6 Mighty Blow Chorfs available, which can chunk through thralls pretty reliably.
Okay, so presuming that Barbecue Gamer is of a similar quality coach as I am, and the record seems to say that, Lumi beat me, so I think Lumi wins this match.
Okay, I mean that's a fair way of looking at it. Certainly.
The thing is, like, vampires, at least developed vampires with a good coach like Lumi, is probably one of the worst matchups there is for Chaos Dwarves because none of their usual tools work especially well against vampires. Yeah, and Lumi's team is developed enough, he doesn't actually need very many thralls. So you can remove thralls for days, but if the vampires are still there, he can just Hypno Gaze, and then he has the ball.
Yeah, a big chunky cube of guard chorfs is pretty irrelevant when you just Hypno Gaze the corners off, and then suddenly they don't do anything anymore. So I think I agree with you. I don't know. I don't know if I am 100% as like super luminous confident as maybe you are, but I do agree that I think Lumi probably wins this one with the availability. Like just the high TV vamps are like surprisingly difficult to deal with for a lot of teams. Superfed and Stacy. Well, 1620 Rats versus 1760 Nurgle. So we've seen the Superfed versus Nurgle matchup, I think 7 billion times over the last several seasons. And as the race details will show, he's lost exactly one time of the 8 matches that he's played. He's very good at this matchup. Although, to be fair, normally there's a bit more in terms of inducements.
There's still enough for a wizard, though, so...
Yep, and that's the real scary bit. I mean, Superfed often plays this game with, like, 300k of inducements, and we're going to have 140. But that's still enough to get the most important one with the wizard. And... we have like one real rat threat, and that's like sort of alphabet row here. The double movement busted, or they're the double plus movement busted Pestigor. If you still movement 8, that would be a lot more valid here. But we're missing.
This hurts a lot.
We're missing one of the guard, along with like sort of mighty blow stand firm, which the stand firm is actually pretty relevant. And so is the guard.
The stand firm is relevant, but honestly, I think probably he's better off without it, because that's why the TV is so close.
That's true. I mean, this is sort of a long, complicated way of saying I think Superfed will win, because he tends to always win these types of matchups. But I'm trying to be a little bit more entertaining than just immediately sort of dumping on Stacy. Sorry, friend, but I think Superfed probably wins this one.
I mean, as much as I'd love to see Superfed salty, like, he is actually a pretty good coach, so...
Rats are Rats are probably one of Nurgle's worst matchups. Nurgle just absolutely hate speedy teams that can run away from you, because you really want to like lock everyone down and control them, and then be like, great, your only way out is to like do 1-die blocks against my foul appearance, and I've got you guard locked, and you can't dodge away from the tentacles. Like, what are you gonna do? Enjoy. And Rats are just like, I'm gonna leave and not do that, because that would be dumb. And the Rats win, and you can't do anything about it.
Yep.
So I think that's a really hard one for Nurgle. Yeah, that like the Nurgle plan against Rats is make sure there are no rats anymore, and that's not always guaranteed. Cullen, in another match, we have a slightly bigger Chaos team versus a much smaller Rat team. This one is a bit different. I mean, there still is the movement 10 sprint gutter runner, but there's also no team. We have a gutter runners, which is the important bit, and we have like 800k, 700 and something k in inducements, so we can have as many players as we want. The claw is entirely irrelevant here, but we do have one mighty blow tackle, we have a blodge guard tackle, got a reasonable ball carrier, but I feel it's basically the same reason, right? Chaos, it's a little bit less bad than Nurgle because you're a little bit faster, there's more movement 6 and your warriors movement 5, but with that many inducements, you just turn a couple star players and a wizard into a touchdown, and then you win 2-1 or 3-2 or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean, based on my game, probably Uber goes wizard, Clark, induced gutter. No, he doesn't need to induce a gutter runner anymore. He has all his gutter runners and basically nothing else.
Yeah, that's another good point, is like Superfed has to win this game, so he's got a lot of motivation to win it. Stacy can't make playoffs anymore. He's probably just more interested in trying to get some SPP.
I mean, Cullen is a pretty good coach.
Oops.
And Uber is going to have 4 gutter runners, and literally everything is going to be loners. So, like, does the concentration of elf thing apply to Rats too? Where, like, the fewer elves you have, the more the elf wind is concentrated on them?
I mean, it's the problem is though with like loner elves, you tend to want to do things with them, which when you have like that's like the archangel or the holding elf team where half of your linemen or all of your linemen are loners. If you just sort of do stuff like mark them up, so that they have to start their turn with a 2+ dodge, it really limits the way the elf coach is going to play, because they can't reliably dodge out their players, unless they're risky, and a lot of elf coaches are, but more safe elf coaches won't want to start their turn by dodging a loner out of a tackle zone to like start making an elf screen, and that's generally how they have to play in a lot of ways. Rats are kind of resigned to like, my rat is marked up, he's not going to dodge out because it's already like a 3+ instead of a 2+, so they're very much used to that sort of loner line rat like not doing anything useful. They play the game with the gutter runners, so they don't care as much about all loners everywhere and not being able to use rerolls, whereas I think elves do more.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know. Like, I think Colin has the potential for this match to go the same way as Uber's last did, where he just loses all of his players. I have a hard time thinking Colin loses this match, but also if Uber's players stay on the pitch, like, it's very hard to beat rats if they have gutter runners.
I think any team, per Colin's statement where he's like, I feel that rats are a very bad matchup for me. Rats are a very bad matchup for any team that doesn't have several movement 7. Is basically like, if you don't like, they're really bad for chaos, they're really bad for Nurgle, they're really bad for, they're not as bad for like undead, but they're still pretty bad for undead. Like it's the speed that's a big problem, and if you can't at least catch up with them, it's hard to do anything. What do you think about your game, B-Dog versus you?
I'm honestly not sure. Like, I don't hate my chances here. Like, I think we're as
if he had his catcher, I would pick him.
B-Dog's probably a better coach than me, but I think I have a better team, and also he's missing his best player. So
if he had that catcher, like, I would predict him.
I mean, I wouldn't blame you. Like, I think I have a decent chance of winning. I don't know. I'm not going to say that I definitely will win.
You have to make a decision. It's the tipping comp after all, or the prediction. No, but I agree. Like, the humans are going to get 300k, which is not nothing. A wizard and some stuff to keep them around, or a bench or a star player or something. Is good, but they're never going to match up to you in the fight. Like, they're not going to match up to you in the punchy part of the game. So what they want to do is win in the not punchy part of the game, but they're missing a big portion of their not punchy part with the catcher.
I don't know. Like, if this is the beginning of the season, then I think it would probably be a draw. But with where we are now, we're both going to want a win. So, like, if I remove his players, then I'm going to win, and if I don't, then I'm not. That's what it comes down to.
Oh, pretty much. I mean, I agree with you. I mean, and he's going to lose that fight, probably. And if you win it hard enough, you probably win. It's hard to say based on like standings, because you both are still in it, so you both still want to win. Given that he doesn't have the catcher, I think I'll probably take you, because his running game is a bit worse than it is without that catcher. And then All Stars of Chaos versus Mongoose. We're missing one of our claw, and we're missing our ball carrier for the chaos. So chaos with inducements versus Chorfs is not a place the chaos want to be. Chaos or Nurgle do not have good inducements. The Chorfs have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guard versus the Chaos's 2. No, 4. They have 4. 1, 2, 3 Claw Mighty Blow versus 1, 2, 3 Claw Mighty Blow. Neither of them really have a ball carrier, actually, other than the sort of bull centaur. 1, 2, 3.
That is a lot of guard hobgoblins.
It really is.
Why can't I have hobgoblins like this?
Because you don't roll doubles.
Yeah, that's it.
because Nuffle hates you? I don't know. Pick your excuse and put it
I
in
don't know.
here.
I actually have 3 claw chores now, so it's not even like this. Like I'm not bad on it anymore. It took me like most of 3 or 4 seasons to do it.
I don't know. I
I
think
ended last season with 0 claw. Now I have 3.
like the chaos, generally, like chaos versus chaos dwarves, I don't hate the chaos unless the chaos dwarves have a billion D guard, which these ones do, but the chaos dwarves or the chaos also match up with that quite well. Plus they have a couple strength players which negate that a little bit.
I mean,
I'm gonna
I
just
think
sort of cheat and rely on the leaderboards. You know, Volcano is currently winning the div. He's got the momentum. I'm gonna take Volcano, but that's the only reason why I'm picking it.
Well, I think Volcano has a better looking team right now. I think Mongoose is probably a better coach because he's a playoff winner. And also he's in the top of the leaderboard. So yeah.
That's what I'm using for my choice. If I didn't know who the coaches were, I don't know, I would maybe be a lot more tempted to pick Chaos, but knowing the standings, knowing the situation they're in, I think I will take Volcano. Okay, so I'm going to move on to 2A now. You're welcome to stay if you want, but you don't have to. Up to you.
No, I need to go. I need to go actually do some work. So
okay, well, thanks for hanging out.
Have fun with 2A.
It was certainly more fun to do it with somebody else than alone.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so thanks to Chaos Subaru for being here. Hope y'all enjoyed having not just me. I know some people would probably be mad if it was just me. I don't think I'm everybody's cup of tea, but I try. Thanks for being here. Enjoy work. Okay, so let's look at the results here. Here We Fall versus Commanders in Grief. None of these matches are super important. None of the two top teams are really playing against each other, which we'll sort of see in a bit. So I didn't really consider this as one of the matches to look at, but I think there are a few more important ones coming up. So Here We Fall versus Commanders in Grief. Fall wins this one 2-1, which I don't think is what I expected. There's a lot of tackle and a lot of guard on this. Oh no, this is what I expected. I predicted Here We Fall. I'm thinking of a different match. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. This is where Shadorra would tell me what I talked about last week because I never remember. But the point is, Here We Fall won this 2-1. Suffered 7 CAS and 4 KOs in the process. Only 5 CAS showing up here, so double Appos induced, I guess. 0 CAS and 2 KOs suffered. Sean Man is hosting. Welcome along, Sean Man friends. I am a fellow thick boy in the clan thick that Sean Man is in. I'm doing a div recap of REL 2A currently. So if you're not really involved in 2A, you're probably not super interested in this, but thanks to the host, feel free to stick around if you want to hear me talk about other matches in Blood Bowl. And what did all those CAS result in? So impressive that Fall won 2-1 despite losing his entire team. 1 tree offense, 2 completed passes, likely to draw Stelnock II, who got 2 touchdowns. Dead catcher. Block, mighty blow, tackle, dodge, dauntless catcher, dead. Is a big deal. That's a real nice elf to have. Dauntless and mighty blow can make up quite a bit for strength things. Mighty blow in particular, real nice against other elf teams. So that's a big loss. Badly hurt on a catcher. And then the other injuries are on rookie linemen who are, it's sad because you're going to have a loner now and you'd rather have a not loner, but better than someone else, not a huge deal. Commanders in Grief, 3 CAS on Abra Slam Lincoln, the blitzer. Almost broken that 100 SPP barrier with the MVP. 2 from F Death Roller Roosevelt, who leveled up, already has jump up, so if that's not piling on, I'm going to scream. It's piling on. I don't have to scream. And then completed pass from the Agi lineman. The 1 TD came from Death Roller Roosevelt. We had the REBBL Head Collectors versus Monster Bash Tech 19. I think I predicted Monster Bash for this one. Necro can be a bit difficult for Chaos, especially given the 2 Agi Wolves. If they can get stuff done, It's really hard for the Chaos to defend against touchdowns there, but obviously they did, given they won 2-0. Although I was going to say they didn't seem to remove anybody, but they did. 7 KOs. 7 KOs and 3 CAS. So 7 KOs is the large majority of the team. If that doesn't come back, or if that happen, if head collectors were on the first drive, did a bunch of punching and removed all the KOs, they didn't come back, then the second drive there's no team, we just score again. There's not a whole lot the Necro can really do about it, especially if their positionals are the ones that get removed. Necro Undead tend to suffer really heavily from the, like, your positionals are worth so much, like Lizards a little bit too, with Saurus. Losing a werewolf is a really big deal. Losing a zombie is not really a big deal. So it also depends on who those KOs are on. And you can often feel like you don't have enough players to do things when you're missing a positional or two. Just because, like, the zombies they're not high movement, they're not agile. It's really difficult to reposition them. So you tend to have to be stuck doing most of your turn or your critical things with the positionals. So 7 KOs, some of those positionals are down, and then you kind of get snowballed against, and it's sort of hard to do stuff without the positionals being around. We got 2 levels out of it, Slashy Pelt and Brute Sinew, so let's go check that out. Slashy Pelt now has block, and Brute Sinew has taken Stand Firm, which makes sense for the guard. Guard Stand Firm, plus Mighty Blow. Claw's probably next. It's going to be really hard to push him off, so you can generate more Claw, more Mighty Blow hits, and Guard Stand Firm is just a good combo. Det Monkey and Logo, Practice Makes Permanent versus Fragile and a Limp. 1-1, 17 armor breaks to 2, 47 blocks to 20. I mean, Det Monkey definitely did some crunching of Dark Elves here. But the Dark Elves had enough elves still on the field, or they scored early enough that the Orcs couldn't actually convert that to a win, and they ended up tying. Which is a reasonably big deal, if I am thinking correctly. Because like a win there probably would have done pretty good things to Det Monkey's playoff chances. It would have, like, tying this makes him a little bit less likely than he was a week or two ago. So a win here would have been really nice, but it's not even close to the end of the world tying that. 3 CAS came from Concussion Percussion. The Elves tied it with their lineman there. Took a niggle on the Witch Elf, which is a bit annoying, especially on the Wrestle Witch Elf, because that is a foul target if I have ever seen one. Witch Elf's going to get wrestled, or will do wrestling, and then it's on the floor and you can step on it. That's really scary. MNG'd Kick, so we're not going to have Kick for the coming game, which is a bit annoying. The Orcs are still looking real good. I'm surprised the Dark Elves managed to tie this. This sort of screams like Tripwire or something like that to stop the 2-1. Cold Cuts from Agrain versus Sterling Hornets from Clown Thulu. Poor Clown Thulu has had a pretty bad season so far. And this is no exception. 23 armor breaks to 1. Clown Thulu just got removed. I mean, 7 KOs and 6 CAS. It's 13 players gone. There's 11 players on the team. Probably scored before his whole team was dead, but we just didn't have, well, there's 12 players, I suppose, because Eldril, but not a whole lot you can do when you don't have a team. Eldril sideliner getting badly hurt. Niggle on the catcher, MNG on the leveled catcher, MNG on a rookie. No levels from the Chorfs. 3 CAS coming from the killer blocker, doing some work there. The level is Durian on Sterling Hornets. Dodge is what we've taken, it looks like, unless you already had that. Yeah, so dodge on that catcher. Poor Clown Thulu. He's not having the greatest season. Trunkhead versus Sarkodiak. This is also an important one. Trunkhead winning this would have done a lot for his... He's still technically in with a chance with the tie here, but I think a win there would have made a pretty big difference to his playoff standings as well. Sarkodiak is out of the game with this tie. Could still ever so theoretically make Challengers Cup. But not winning for Trunkhead is more important than not winning for Sarkodiak. 24 armor breaks. This is an unsurprising tie to me, given the result here. 10 KOs and 4 Kaz suffered by the damn Yankees. The damn Yankees scored, then the Nurgle beat them to death and scored, and then there weren't enough elves to do anything with, or some combination of that. The Nurgle beat the elves to death and scored, the Dark Elves 2-turned, or something like that. And then the beatings continued and intensified. Dead lineman with dodge is a bit annoying, but once again, there are worse targets. MNG on the movement runner is actually probably not a bad thing. It might make his team more TV efficient for the next game. The movement is nice though, because Dark Elves are a bit slower than other elves. But triple levels, both witches and one of the Blodge Step garters leveled. So the witches doesn't look like they've picked it. Oh no, so the witch got leap, this one got wrestle, and the Blodge Step guy has picked up strength, which is amazing. That is a strength 4 Blodge Guard Step Dark Elf. Incredible. That is going to be a nightmare of a player for people to deal with. Absolute nightmare. That's a nice player to have. Ecological Collapse also picked up a level, which is Juggernaut, I believe. Yes. Makes sense, given it's the frenzy piece. Stand Firm is also an option if you're trying to surf with it. But Juggernaut lets you move the Stand Firm pieces. You can still surf them. You can stop Fend, and you can stop Wrestle when you're blitzing stuff. So it has a couple reasons. People often Frenzy, Juggernaut, Stand Firm for surfing. It's all for surfing. But it turns out it's also really good at getting players out of the way, right? Your opponents screen up. There's a Black Orc in your way that is, Stand Firm. How do you get past that? Sometimes, right? There's a sidestep or a Stand Firm elf or something. I mean, Stand Firm is pretty unlikely, but you get what I mean. The Frenzy Juggernaut is really, really nice for ensuring that a player will be out of the way if you need to get by. You need to move someone so you can make a cage. You need to move a screen out of the way so you can score. Frenzy Juggernaut is really, really nice for ensuring that you can actually do that. I got a ton of use out of Juggernaut when I had it for 6 games or so before you died. Freeing up scoring threats guaranteed, freeing up your players from a Beast of Nurgle that they're all stuck on or something. It's a good skill. Eisenmike versus Yeo, Self-Hating Dwarves versus Yield Guard. Did I take I took the Yield Guard here. Okay. Because the way that the dwarves normally win this type of matchup is just sort of, I've got so much guard, you can't do anything about it. And we've induced a guard blocker to help with that. We also had a guard death roller, it looks like. I don't know if that's a rostered one or not. I don't think it is. So just the dwarves leaning real heavy into the strength advantage with guard. I mean, strength, they don't have strength. But they use the death roller and a giant squadron of guard dwarves to sort of limit the amount of blocks, or at least good blocks, the Nurgle could take. And if they can't get good blocks and they can't get good blocks on good players, they can't remove you, and then you can punch them back. Plus, it gives players you don't care about as much to do some marking, which we see, right? The death roller got dead, and the induced blocker got MNG'd. We have a regular blocker get MNG'd as well. But that prevented real players from dying. And we even we killed a rookie Nurgle Warrior, which sucks, but it's better than one of the real Nurgle Warriors. 3 Kaz from Depression. Depression doing all the work there. That's poignant. Some badly hurt Rotters and a Pestigore. The Nurgle suffered 7 Kaz. So 4 of them got better. So the regen doing pretty good. Unlike mine in Clan this week, where I played a game against Chaos's Undead and failed, suffered 8 casualties and 0 for 7 regens. One of them was a ghoul, which is 0 for 7 regens. My team was a mummy and a white and 2 zombies by the end of the game. It was not very good. But good inducement use, and potentially some unluck from the Nurgle having a lot of their team injured. Like, removed from the pitch is good enough to win the drive, and winning 2 drives is a 2-0 win for the dwarves. So well done to Eisenmike and the self-hating dwarves there. We had Not for Science and Mighty Mo. Not for Science winning this is a big deal for him. He's not locked for playoffs yet, but this puts him a lot closer. The Hornstars are, sort of near the bottom of the table right now. A win for them wasn't critical, probably just aiming for SPP. So not too surprised that Not for Science won this one. But Not for Science doing Not for Science things and turning 11 blocks with 3 armor breaks into 3 Kaz, because that's how Not for Science plays elves. He doesn't even have Mighty Blow. He was just 3 armor breaks, 3 Kaz. Enjoy, Chaos. That's how we work. In return, took 7 KOs and 4 Kaz. Dead Wrestle Lino, badly hurt on the guard is the only annoying one. But everything else is loners. 2 completed passes with the thrower, touchdown with Tanare, and Kaz with the tackle catcher. So where are the other 3 Kaz's from? We only inflicted 1, and he suffered 2 more, so that must have been from like dodging out, maybe, because I doubt, or no, there could have been fouls. There was an expulsion for Hornstars, so they were probably fouling, but we have a dirty player lineman here, so he was probably fouling as well. Not for Science plays High Elves so weird, and I love it. It's like, sometimes you see him play incredibly elfy and just do crazy elf things, and sometimes he just beats you to death with High Elves and plays super bashy, and I don't understand. But it works. Although the Chaos definitely got what they wanted out of this game. They can't make playoffs anymore. A movement bust on a rookie beast is totally irrelevant, and they gained 3 levels. Dirk, Buck, and Roman were the levels. So Dirk has picked up tackle, Buck has picked up tackle, and Roman has picked up a wrestle. So Hornstar's getting exactly what they wanted out of that game. Many levels as possible. A Kaz, TD, and a completed pass. They're pretty happy with it, I think. And that puts our leaderboard at this. Agrain in first with 22. Not for Science hot on the heels with 21. So even a draw there is enough to bring them even. And TD differential is the tiebreaker. Det Monkey falling down to 3rd with his loss this season, but he would be at 22, tied for first with Agrain. So the playoff spots would be 22, 22, 21. And then the only real challenger being 18 and 16, which is a game off. And this is even more than a game off. So a win there would have been super close to actually locking playoff spots. I don't think still technically, but real close. If I bring up the div predictor, we can see. So Cold Cuts, not even locked for postseason yet. 97% to be in the postseason in some way, shape, or form. Fellows Quadadol at 86% in the postseason in some way, shape, or form. So those, like, it's pretty likely that, your top 2 spots are going to be a Not for Science and Det Monkey. Not Det Monkey. The Cold Cuts Agrain. The 3rd spot is, I'd say it's up in the air a bit. Practice Makes Permanent currently occupies it, but Tech 19 has a really good shot to take it as well. They 29% chance versus 21% chance to finish in 3rd. It's just that the reason why the numbers are different is Monster Bash can fall out a little bit further, fall down a bit further than Practice Makes Permanent, given the 19 to 18 point difference there. Damn Yankees, Fragile and Limp, REBBL Head Collectors, and Yield Guard, and even technically Here We Fall still have some chance, but I'd say you're pretty unlikely outside of Damn Yankees maybe. But there's Fragile and Limp and Damn Yankees also have a good shot at the Challengers Cup still, but I think the only pseudo locked or as close to locked as we can get positions here are Agrain and Not for Science. So speaking of which, let's move on. Commanders in Grief versus My Nemo. Not an important match really for either. I don't think we have a whole lot in terms of playoff chances going on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guard for the Orcs, and the Chaos are at 1, 2, 3, 4 guard. Normally I like Orcs a little bit here just because they can sort of bully the Chaos a bit, but the Chaos have enough to keep up with it, I think, and they've got 4 Claw Mighty Blow, which is a lot of removal potential. 140k isn't nothing. I mean, a wizard isn't actually terrible here, or even a bribe if you have a dirty player, which we don't. Just to you can turn a 1-1 draw into a 1-0 win with a wizard at some point in this type of matchup, I think. I don't know. I think like my Nemo may be playing a little bit out of character because the playoff chances are gone. But I don't know, something in my heart tells me that the Chaos are just going to remove the Orcs here, and I'm going to go with that. Not for Science and Yayo. Not actually terrible for dealing with High Elves. 3 tackle, 2 of which is attached to Mighty Blow. Plus the Frenzy and Juggernaut is pretty useful. Beast of Nurgle isn't there. The Nurgle Warriors on defense are going to be nice with the Guard and Stand Firm for defending your ball. On offense for like defending your cage. On defense, their elves are just going to run away from them. I think Not for Science is going to have a hard time stopping Yield Guard from scoring, but I think the opposite is also true, and it's a lot easier for elves to 2-turn, which is what this may come down to. Plus, the elves get a wizard. This is hard. But I think my reasoning is sound there in that it's going to be pretty easy for both teams to score on their own drive, but it's more likely that the High Elves score on not their own drive than the Nurgle do, which means if I have to pick a team to win, I think I'm going to pick the High Elves. Then we have Abysmal Cusp versus the Self-Hating Dwarves. 22-30 Nurgle versus the Self-Hating Dwarves. The same trick is possible as it was in the last matchup, but I think it's a little bit less possible. We have similar amounts of inducements to be able to do that. Because last week it was against where are we? Yield Guard and Yayo, which is 1870 now anyway with the injuries. Out of blocker, but that's okay. We can induce one. The Chaos, these Chaos have a lot less in terms of blocking. Like they have the 1 Claw Mighty Blow, and it's not Pylon. He is a Pestigore for blitzing though, which is a pretty big deal. An Exploding Social Rupture is the dwarves can never potato against that Pestigore, and sometimes dwarves have to potato because that's what dwarves do. There's a strength advantage for the Nurgle, 3 guard versus what's likely to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guard. I don't hate the dwarves for this. If they had a bit more Claw Mighty Blow, I think I'd feel more confident in the in the Nurgle. But I think I'm going to take the dwarves for this, which is a bit weird, but Nurgle and Chaos and Undead teams and stuff, like strength punchy teams that don't have a ton of guard on them frequently can get kind of bullied by orcs and dwarves and teams that have a lot of guard stop you from blocking. Clown Thulu versus Trunkhead. I think this is probably Trunkhead. Clown Thulu is missing a number, 2 of his catchers. Not that they're super important. He's got this catcher, which is really nice, and this blitzer, which is really nice, but he's niggled, and the rest of the game is going to be on inducements, which are valuable, but a little less valuable against elves than against bash teams. And it's going to be so hard to get the ball off when there's this much guard, strength, stand firm, or guard, sidestep, strength lying around. And John Rambo, the human blitzer, is going to have an absolute field day with the niggle on this team, on this player. and as many elves as he can, armor 7 elves as he can get his hands on. Plus, Trunkhead has a bit of a chance to make it, so I think he's probably more motivated in that way. Sorry, Clown Thulu. Clown Thulu's had a rough season, and I don't predict it getting much better. I was looking at this, like, why am I looking at this? Because I'm looking at the wrong week. A-Grain and Fragile and Limp. We have our killer. Got a good witch, but we're missing a witch, and we've got the fast. Like, I think this game to me comes down to this blitzer. Bash teams like Dark Elves a bit more than they like other elf teams, just because they're a bit slower. They're more inclined to punch you than the other elves are, to pass and run away. The big difference maker generally is the witch elves, because they're high movement, especially this one, and then like the wrestle frenzy can be kind of scary, or like the frenzy attached to like some of the skills can be kind of scary. But this is the real difference maker for me. Agi 5, movement 9. If he is on the field, the elves have a really good chance at this. If he is not on the field, the Chaos Dwarfs will win most of the time. That is a lot of Mighty Blow. It's a lot of guard. It's a lot of stand firm. There's strength. If it's a reasonable ball carrier, the Bull Centaurs are sort of pseudo movement 9 for safety reasons, especially the tackle one being useful here. I think Trunkhead's team would do a bit better against these Chorps than Logos. So that plus the cold cuts being at the top of the table, I think I'm going to take the cold cuts because they want to lock in their playoff chances. Now, here's a big one. This is a potentially huge match for playoffs. Monster Bash and Practice Makes Permanent, as we can see. Those are two of our coaches right up at the top here. Monster Bash could move a win here. Actually puts Monster Bash above Dat Monkey in third. So this is really, really big. And I think this is probably the one that we will take a look at, unless it's like 9-0 or something. I'm going to make a note of that so I don't forget about it. It's 2070 orcs, 1700, so 300k necros. They get Cheney if they want, which is a big deal. Which is 3 high movements. The strength 4, the claw is not irrelevant. There's no mighty blow attached to it. The 2 Agi werewolves are a huge deal for like running away and getting stuff done here, but they're gonna have such a hard time blocking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 block guard stand firm players, and 6, 7 guard, including the troll. Or so 6 guard stand firm players. Like, those werewolves are basically glorified elves right now because they're never going to be blocking. I don't hate the orcs. My initial thought was Necro, just because I knew they had those wolves and they get inducements. But unless they're careful with those inducements, these zombies are going to be for the most part entirely useless, and they're just going to get locked up. And it's going to be so hard to get any blitzes on these orcs. Like, on offense, these orcs are going to be unstoppable. I think it really comes down to either can we turn the wizard into a touchdown, or can we 2-turn? And with all that guard stand firm, it might be a bit difficult to 2-turn. Like, the orcs could just get in the way. But the Agi 4 is a thing, right? And we can still dodge out with Agi 4. It's a really hard one, and I think it'll be interesting. So that's probably on the agenda. I'm gonna take the orcs. Here we fall, and the REBBL head collectors. 1 tackle on the chaos, but it is the blitzer, which is a big deal, and we have sure hands. Versus the strength 4 Agi 5 armor 7 is terrifying, like, for both players. This is so scary towards the chaos, but it's also scary to do anything with it as the elves, because he's armor 7. And he could just die after he does a thing. He does get 360k, which is a pretty reasonable thing. And I think the lack of tackle is going to be an issue here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, there is 5 sort of mighty blow, and the claw is relevant against high elves. But like, I think we're gonna get 1 real good block a turn, and that's about it. Plus, Agi 5 elf with a wizard screams 2/1 elves to me. Just because the chaos might have a hard time converting that second touchdown, or the elves can turn you over with the wizard. So let's go. I don't really like this choice, and I think this one could easily go either way. And it's, can the head collectors kill enough elves? Who knows? But for the purposes of wrapping this up, I think I'm going to take Here We Fall. Yeah, the movement, plus we have a pretty reasonable 1 turn. As long as we use these inducements well, I think the chaos might have a hard time. The elves that do exist are really annoying for the chaos to deal with. Okay, so here's your 3-second warning for the scoreboard. 3, 2, 1. Bam. After those predictions, Locust has actually pulled ahead in REL 1. BME fallen down a little bit with his predictions in REL 1. Even below Shadorra now. And I'm real close in REL 1. So REL 1 is tight. Not everybody is getting it right there. However, BME and Shadorra are still running away with it in REL 2 compared to me especially. And even though Locust has taken the crown in REL 1, it is not enough because his performance does not match up to BME's in REL 2 to catch up. So 27 for BME, but Shadorra is only off by 2 points, so we might lose the crown. BME might lose the crown by the end of next week. Entirely possible. I'm close-ish to Shadorra, but not very. So I can't imagine I'll catch up at this point, but given the stupid swingy nature of our system, it's not impossible. Okay. Thanks everybody for hanging out. That's been us, or just me, and Ogre Shadorra, I suppose, for week 11. We will be back next week with week 12, very close to the end. Week 12, week 13, and then a wrap-up probably to go, and then there's playoffs. So I hope you guys are excited for playoffs. I'll probably be casting some, but a lot of people cast them, so support your friendly recappers and Blood Bowl streamers and stuff, because it's a lot of work to recap and watch, or both to recap, but also to stream every single one of those playoff games. So, feel free to thank someone whose cast you happen to like. It's a decent amount of work, so there's a lot of streamers out there. Thanks to all of you for covering other divs and covering the playoffs when those happen. It's much appreciated. We will see you next week, and until then, I've been Steakmittens, and he has been an ogre who wasn't actually here. But thanks to Chaos Subalu for being on for the first half at least, and replacing him for some amount of time. She did a good job talking about her div. Thanks everybody.